Good evening and welcome. I'm Sheila Balgobin, principal of Simply Improve Health, and I help people to train better and longer and recover more quickly, have improved sleep, and enjoy better quality of health using simple plant-based products and simple techniques. This evening, as I promised it, I would be sharing information with you about the new course that I'm launching in the new year. And I thought the best place to begin would be to start with why I actually decided to develop this course. And it has to do with the fact that the unconscious mind, which is a vast ocean, and the part of us that identifies itself as I, the conscious mind, is just like a little cork bobbing on this vast ocean of the unconscious mind. Or you could look at it as like an iceberg. We only see the very top of the iceberg. It can extend for miles downward into the dark ocean, and that's the unconscious. The unconscious knows all about us. It clocks everything that's going on around us, which the conscious mind just cannot do. It would just overload from so much information coming in. But the unconscious is scanning constantly, whether we're awake or asleep. It's taking in information, it's scanning the environment, it's looking around at what's going on. Now, the unconscious mind, though, can only communicate with us in the ways that our brains are designed to do that. And dreams come from what's called the reptilian brain, the oldest and most primitive part of the brain, which doesn't process things in words. It processes things in terms of emotions and images. And if you think about it, it actually makes sense. Um, Perhaps our primitive human ancestors didn't have language, but they did have memory, and they were able to record experiences visually, so that they recognize that a particular animal is going to eat them. It's captured as an image, even if there were no words for it. They knew what it was. And the modern human mind processes things that are very basic to our emotional and physical survival in the same way as images. So even though people may think, dreams, they're a bunch of nonsense, it's the result of a dodgy dinner or something, or too many late nights, or that last piece of sausage you ate, or whatever it is, it's much more than that. It's the deepest and most knowledgeable part of ourselves trying to float up little messages to us in the forms of images and emotions. Now, we've all had the experience where we've had such a vivid dream or nightmare in some cases, where it's even years later, you will still remember it because it's attached to emotion, something that strikes at literally at the very heart of us, and encourages us either to flee, to fight, or hide, or stand and face whatever is going on with us. And that was part and parcel of why I created this course, because I realized from my own life, from a very early age, that dreams meant something. Hello, Katya. And what I realized as I say, from a very young age, that dreams were important and meant something, particularly when I found that it impacted major areas of my life or people that were connected to me. Like the first dream that I can actually remember, I was 8 years old, and I dreamt about some relatives of mine being burned out of their home due to an electrical fire, and everyone got out except the dog. Now, That was a weird thing. I mean, these were relatives that, though they lived in New York, they lived at the other end of the city, and I rarely saw them. But yet, this dream was so vivid that I actually looked at the clock at the time that I had the dream. It was about a bit after 1 in the morning. The next day, another one of my relatives comes by, one of my aunts, and says, "Gather any clothes and anything you don't need," because my aunt Daphne had gotten burned out. And my heart just clenched. And so we asked what happened. It was an electrical fire. Everyone got out safely except the dog. And my aunt had come rushing out. She had worked at night. She had come rushing to the house as it was burning down to find out all of this. Now, that dream was depicted exactly what had happened, whether it was at the time it happened or before or just after, but I dreamt it to the last detail. And that from the time I was 8, I realized that dreams were important, that they were coming from somewhere, but they always meant something. And that started my lifelong journey, if you will, with dreams. But it goes back even further than that for me, because dreams, the ability to dream and to interpret dreams is something that runs in my family. I'm a fourth generation dreamer, but it's not something that I had always acknowledged or appreciated or even shared with other people, because of thoughts of being thought strange or weird or what have you. But there came a point in my life where I realized that I had to share this gift, or it was threatening to wreak havoc in my own life, because I wasn't doing what I was, who I was. And so for me, exploring the unknown country called the unconscious mind. Hi, Shireen. Exploring the unknown country that is our unconscious mind is something that's just not encouraged, particularly in Western society. And well, I'm glad you joined me, Shireen. So good for you. I'm glad you remembered. But we're not encouraged to go within. We're not encouraged to, oh, thank you for that, James. I look forward to that. And it's a pity that we don't pay more attention to what's going on inside us, because it would make our outside world that much better. And what I mean by that is that, as I said, the unconscious, the only way it has to communicate with us, the part of us that says I, that recognizes itself as I, is through dreams, through images, through feelings, through misplaced words, or what they call Freudian slips. I mean, even it was Freud himself who said that the dreams are the royal road to the unconscious. That if you really wanted to know what was really going on inside of you, you needed to listen to your unconscious, which knows all about you, while we know next to nothing about the unconscious. The unconscious knows all about your hopes, your dreams, your fears, all of the, mental malware going on in your head that you really need to get rid of. It knows all of that. And it will float up little messages like little kites, usually in the form of dreams, to give a snapshot of a situation. Not only to give the snapshot, but to be able to indicate perhaps a way forward or a solution to that particular issue. And people just do not realize the resource, that they're huge resource that they're missing out on, for being able to direct their life in the best way possible. Now, dreams don't have to be these huge, dramatic, crazy things. It can be, there are different types of dreams. That's very true. And it may be worthwhile to stop here a moment and talk about that. There are the dreams that are I call the emotional smokestack dreams. Somebody cuts you off while going to work, or you had an argument with your spouse, or your kids are driving you up the wall, whatever it is. It's just the remains of the little snippets of that undigested stress gets floated up in the form of little snippets of dreams. Now, there are also dreams that are, like I said, problem-solving dreams that pose a frame a situation and suggest a solution. And the first thing being, you have to be aware of what the issue actually is before you can start to address it. And the unconscious can help do that. And then there are also what I call big medicine dreams, the dreams that come up from the unconscious that don't just affect you, but affect maybe a whole group of people, or it could even be planet-wide. I mean, there have been many cases where people have dreamt in different parts of the world about a disaster or some event, and it has happened. They may have dreamt it, months or even sometimes years in advance. I know that was the case with me, which I'm glad I listened to my dream, because it saved my life. Literally saved my life. It kept me out of the maelstrom of 9/11 because I worked near the towers. So it's the kind of thing that dreams have power. Dreams have a great deal of information, and they can only become accessible to us through our unconscious mind. Now, the reason why we think it's the result of dodgy dinners and it's all nonsense and makes no sense is because it speaks in a specific language, and you have to learn that language and understand that language before it begins to make any sense. It's like, going to Russia or China or, or Thailand without knowing the language, and yet expecting to be able to understand what people are saying to you, except for the most basic things and pantomiming a lot. So just like any other language, the language of the unconscious needs to be learned and understood before it can be acted upon in any way, or at least given some kind of credence. Now, the other thing that people don't realize is that the unconscious mind acts as if it acts in metaphors. It sends us information or shares information with us as metaphor, so that you have to imagine as if your unconscious mind is saying to you, this is the situation as if whatever. And I'll give you a good example of that. When I was studying to be a psychotherapist, I was having lots of dreams, and the type of the psychotherapy course that I was on encouraged us to share our dreams and to be able to work through them as part of the course. So this was something that I'd been doing since childhood anyway, because, as I said, it's natural and native to me. But I was working at looking at my dreams more systematically, and I was killing off my tutors, as I realized. In my dreams, I mean, they were thieves, stealing, coming into my house, i.e. my head, and trying to steal stuff from me or take stuff away. And there was one she was particularly catty in her remarks. I was killing her off as a black cat. And that's what I mean, that the dreams can present things in the best way that it can, hooking it onto things that are familiar to you in order to get a point across. But it's very densely packed information. So a short burst of a dream contains a lot of information. It's so dense that you would not believe the layers of information that you're getting from what seems to be maybe, seconds or moments of a dream. Now, I hear from people all the time, I don't dream, or I don't remember my dreams. Well, it's not that you don't dream, unless you're taking medication or have some kind of issue that is forcing you to bypass the dream sequence of the sleep cycle. Everyone dreams, they just don't remember. Now, in either case, whether you feel that you're not dreaming or you don't remember, there are things that you can do to help you to be more aware of your dreams, to go properly through the I can't talk, sleep sequence, and actually be able to recall the dreams upon waking. There are things you can do about that, and that's one of the things that I realized that I could help people with and teach them how to do for themselves. So you have information being floated up to you in the form of images, as if in metaphors. But the other important ingredient is yourself. All dreams come from the person who dreams them. And therefore, the person who is appropriate to actually interpret and understand what that dream means for them is the dreamer, him or herself. When I act as the dream detective, I'm not telling people about what to dream or how to dream, or this dream means that, or that symbol means that. No, that's impossible, because each symbol is tied directly to that person in the context of their life. So I can give hints and suggestions, but in the end, it's the person who works through their dream with my help and finally has that aha moment. And they know it. Everyone knows it when they get the meaning of the dream, because it all just clicks. It all just makes sense, and you know exactly what it is the dream is trying to communicate to you. So I would challenge you in the days and weeks to come. I'll be talking more about this and talking more about aspects of my new course, which will be launched officially in January 6th, I believe. But I do encourage you to not to discount your dreams. And in fact, the more credence you give to them, the more respect you pay to them, the more information they will start giving up, and they will give up some serious gems. I kid you not. Dreams have helped me with writing dissertations, have helped me with all kinds of life decisions. And the unconscious is there to help you. It's there to guide you, but you have to be listening. Or as a niece of mine likes to say, the universe is always sending us emails, but do we open them? And it's a bit like that. You have to open yourself, be open to your own mind, and explore that unknown country called the unconscious in order for it to be able to start that dialogue between the I part of us and the unconscious part of us. Or in psychoanalytic terms, the ego, which is I, and the id, which is the unconscious part of us, the instinctive, emotional part of us. So leave that thought with you, and said maybe, hopefully that will start the train of thought that dreams are not just the result of dodgy dinners or or the result of somebody cutting you off on the way to work, but have real power, the power to literally change your life, to save it, to redirect it, to just to guide you, to be there to really speak to the deepest part of you, your deepest hopes and dreams and fears, and be able to work through them and create a life that you really want to have, and not the one that you end up with because you're just stumbling through life. That's it for me. I hope you found that of interest. If you have any comments, please do leave them. I'm always happy to respond to comments. If you think what I'm saying is absolute nonsense, that's okay too, but you can tell me. I said, if you like, you can drop some emojis, some love hearts, some thumbs up, some wows, whatever it is. I'm happy to get those too. I thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned. I'm going to be, over the coming days, up in the run up to Christmas, I will be sharing more information about the course. And I wish you a wonderful evening and a great week. Take care and see you again soon. Bye-bye.